I'm going to tell you guys a story about a place I worked at. I'm going to tell you about working there. Okay, so I had dropped out of high school in ninth grade. I'm home with my stepdad, who's a principal, and my mom, who's a school teacher. I'm doing nothing with my life except for partying all the time. And so my stepfather has a friend that owns a club in our city, Brockton. And he says, hey, I can get you a job. Oh, okay, it was just a coat check girl. Like, I just had to work in the winters, on the weekends, Friday and Saturday only, from like, I don't know, some like maybe 9 to the club closed, and then I would go so like 3 a.m. or whatever. So just that Friday and Saturday. Would I do it? And I'm like, sure, like why not? So what am I, 16, 17, something like that. I think I was 16 when I started. And so I have this little window, like a little half door, and I have my coat check room. I have 200 hangers, and the owner, my dad's friend, would let me charge $1 for every coat I hung up and also take tips. And he let me keep all of it. And listen, I put more than 200 coats on there because the club was always way over capacity because there was a DJ from a Boston radio station that was there on Saturday nights. So it was bringing in this huge Boston crowd, and obviously the owner was loving that. Anyway, so I was doubling up coats, but I was still charging $1 for every coat. So anyway, I was making a lot of money. Plus, I was taking tips. It was like probably $700 every weekend. Anyway, so this is right after I had shaved my head. That's another story for another day. And so they had security there. They had bouncers. And the name of the company was Brotherhood Security. And they were these big, big, big dudes, right? And there was this one big dude that would always flirt with me. And so sometimes I would have my sister come to work with me. My sister was older than me. But if she had nothing to do on a Friday, I would say, come hang out with me in the coat check room. I was maybe getting drinks. The police were awesome. There was 2 police officers, Eric, I can't remember the other one's name. They were always there, and so we became friendly. And the coat check room was, in the lobby, so I didn't get to have any fun or dance or anything. But I got to socialize plenty, and me and my sister would hang out, and we would she would tease me about this one particular bouncer who would flirt with me. I couldn't remember his name. Anyway. It turned out to be my oldest son's father. Anyway, so my sister was pregnant at the time in the beginning, and so she didn't go out much. So I would say, come hang out with me at work, and it was insane on Saturday nights. When the club would get out, when the club would close, there was a small scale riot in the parking lot every single Saturday. Initially, this was like a Brockton crowd. It was mixed. It was cool. It was chill. There were pool tables. It wasn't a big deal. But when the DJ started recording there and bringing in the Boston crowd, it got really rough. And I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people, but when the club would close, they wouldn't want to leave. Then they would all be in the parking lot, and a fight would start, and it would turn into like 50 people fighting. And the bouncers would go in, and the bouncers may or may not have been on what some call juice. They were a little raw, extra testosterone, let's say. And they would go in, but they couldn't manage it. And they're just fighting with everybody else now. Those bouncers were crazy. I've seen them knock people out, break people's arms. Like, it was crazy. But the bouncers wouldn't be able to handle it. So the next thing would happen, the police would go in and just start spraying mace, just mace everybody. But then the bouncers would get mace too because they were still in the middle of the fight. So I actually, there was a bouncer I seen, it might have been my kid's father. It might have been Joel. Macing himself on purpose because I guess you can get used to it or something. I don't know. Because basically got maced every Saturday night. Anyway, towards the end, they used to just park a paddy wagon with its lights on and the doors open right out front. And so then I end up pregnant with said bouncer, Joel, from Brotherhood Security, and I'm like 3 months pregnant. It was a crazy, like a really rough crowd was coming in, and it's in a rough city. Brockton was a rough city, and I've had people then at the end of the club, everybody wanted their coats all at once. I've had people threaten to like stab me for my, like, give me my coat. Like, Jesus Christ, hang on. I never lost anyone's coat or anything like that. Anyway, so I'm like 3 months pregnant now. And I'm standing in the coat room. The club has just gotten out, and so it's Saturday night. They are probably 500 people standing right outside on the other side of the doors, but it's really quiet in the club now. Everybody's out, and there was a new bar back, the guy that goes around and collects the bottles in the bin. And he was from the next town over, Holbrook, but Brockton is surrounded by, it's crazy, by towns that are worlds apart from the type of city Brockton is. Like really nice, quiet, rich towns. Anyway, so this kid from Holbrook is walking in front of the coat check room. Here's the coat check room. The front door is right here. And here's this bouncer the bar back walking by, this young kid. And I hear pop, 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 pop. Like I hear 5 shots. And I can hear them hit the side of the building, hit the front of the building. And I know the sound of a gunshot because of where I'm from. And I jump, I get down. I'm pregnant. My kid's father's outside. I get down, I kiss the floor. I know the sound. And I don't know what's happening next. Like, what if somebody's mad they didn't get their coat in time? Is someone going crazy? Are they coming in? Like, what is happening? So I get down on the floor and I see the bar back. Doesn't even flinch. Keeps walking. And I'm like, yo, that was gunshots. Get down. Kiss the floor, motherfucker. And all of a sudden, he said he knew something was wrong when all the big bouncers came running in, and he said they were pulling Action Jacksons over the bar to hide. Yeah, so it was a shooting, and ultimately the guy was arrested. Thank God, one person got shot like in the hand. And so that was that cop, Eric, I liked, was the one involved in that. And I said, what happened? And he said that, they caught up to him and they had their guns out and they said, put your hands up. And he went for his gun instead of putting his hands up. And I'm like, oh my God. But right then, another cop came from behind and tackled him. Jesse, that was the other cop. The other cop was Jesse. Anyway, and I said to Eric, I was like, but what if he shot first? And Eric goes, he wouldn't have, and I just felt the weight of his responsibility in life and for his job. He wouldn't want to hurt some young kid and, but needs to get home to his family at the end of the day, so that gave me a whole different respect for police. I was willing to give my 2 weeks, but my boss said, nope, you're not coming back here. Because I was like, it's a little high stress for the pregnancy. Ultimately, that place got shut down. There were too many shootings, and there was a very tragic ending to it. There was an 8-month pregnant woman there to pick up someone, and she caught a stray bullet and passed. And that was when they closed the club down finally. But yeah, that was Guido Osheas. It was pretty crazy. Just another crazy story.